where they were this time last year. Now, coming around week 13, getting ready to go into the last stretch of the season last year, they were 7-5. So they still was almost on the cusp of, 500 ball. And they caught fire at the end of the season. They won their last 4 games. So they went 11-5 and they took that momentum into the playoffs and became the team that everyone was talking about. And Matt Ryan became, this whole MVP, So the silver lining is that you've been here before. But the struggles is that you've been here before with Kyle Shanahan, but now you're not. So now the questions are, I was like, is Kyle Shanahan really the MVP? But what I think is that I think they took Kyle's playbook to heart. I don't know if they added any new wrinkles at all. I don't know if they changed up some things. Maybe they did. But if you're going to, and Dan Quinn said this, they said they were going to go into still using the plays that Kyle had drew up. They're going to still run that offense. And that's great, but it's kind of like Kyle it's like Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving his car. Then he gets out of it to give the car to you. And then you got to drive it. It's not the same. You're not going to drive the car the same way Dale Earnhardt Jr. would. So that's what I think we're having here, with Sarkisian, is that he's not driving that machine the same way Kyle was driving it last year. And that goes with the play calling, crucial times, when you call it, what position that you put, your team in. Now, it's not only just the OC, it's more than that. But I just think with these combinations is that you guys are, you're the hunted. Everyone wants a piece of you. They want to measure themselves up against you. And the Falcons and Falcon fans, what you need to remember at this point right now, this is right where you were before. You don't want to be here. You definitely would rather have a couple more wins under your belt, especially against like Buffalo and Miami. Those are games that you should have won. You didn't. Buffalo and Miami took care of business, So with that being said, it's not time. People have been saying it's time to fire some people and everything. It's not time to fire some people, but it is time to take notice and to make the necessary adjustments to get this team on the right track, because it doesn't get any easier from here, being that you are the reigning NFC champions and you got the reigning MVP coming into your house. Everybody is watching and everybody is going to get up and play their best ball against you. But got to give the Patriots credit. They took care of business once again, and Falcons didn't. As much as it pained me to say, but it is what it is. Shouts out to some people that jumped in the chat room as well. JB Jennings, Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan extraordinaire, is in here as well. 9-0 the Wino is in here as well. So appreciate 9-0 Wino for jumping in with us in the chat room. I think we got some other people. Brian Hill also has jumped in. And Rough Buff, a.k.a. Bills Mafia, a.k.a. Fuquan Shabazz, a.k.a. Don't Mention Me, a.k.a. Please don't shoot. I come in peace. Appreciate you for joining in to the show tonight, sir. So, like I said, this chat room is taking off. So get in this chat room right now, and then you can chat it up with me, or you can hit up, some of the listeners that's in here as well and go back and forth, because that's what they're doing. They hitting it all, over the place. But we're going to stay in the NFL. We're going to talk about some guys that, no pun intended, had bad breaks, and some of them, starting out. And one was Brett Hundley for the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers. He had his first start. It definitely wasn't what you wanted, but you're comparing it to Aaron Rodgers, so you're not going to get that anyway. But it seemed like it started out smooth. He took it, he rushed for a touchdown. It seemed like he was getting out of the pocket, very easily, very, a nice flow. looking downfield, hitting some of his targets. And then at some point, I don't know if they start changing how they want it, because Aaron Jones was running the ball very well, which I was really surprised that he ran as well as he did on the Saints, even though a lot of people talk about the Saints defense, and I have as well talked about their defense being weak, but they are changing things, over on that side of the ball. But Green Bay just couldn't take advantage of some of the mistakes that New Orleans made. Drew Brees threw 2 interceptions basically in the first half to start off. I think in the first quarter, maybe one was in the first. It might have been the second one in the second, but he threw 2 crucial interceptions. They weren't able to turn those into points. So that, was a heartbreaker, if you will, because you didn't get anything out of it. Normally you want to get touchdowns or try and get at least a field goal out of it, but you didn't get anything, out of it. But I think for his first game, didn't put too much, on him, too much expectations. They were still in the game. It wasn't like they got blown out, so they could have made some moves and they could have still got back into the game. So, not a good win, or not a good loss, I should say, but maybe you can take a moral victory from this. So the Green Bay Packers will make the adjustments. Brett Hundley will, get better as time goes on. It's his first start. You got to be patient, with him. But watching that game, he kind of moved like Aaron Rodgers too, especially when he was rolling out of the pocket, So I give him a C for his performance. There were some good things, and then there were some bad things, as well. He threw a interception in that game as well. So it still is a work in progress. It still is something that's remained to be seen. We can't necessarily just say how the rest of the season is going to go off of this one game, but we do know that they need to change it around pretty quick, because Minnesota won and they could take over this division and the Packers be left in the dust, But also another quarterback change, and this was not another quarterback change that was not voluntary, is that Jay Cutler got his injury, got rib injuries. He had to sit out the game or got taken out of the game, and Matt Moore, stepped in. Now, here's the thing about Matt Moore. Matt Moore, he stepped into a situation where they were down 14 points, and he brought them back to beat, who were they playing? Was it the Jets? I think it was the Jets, if I remember correctly. They were playing the Jets, but he came back. Yeah, it was the Jets. And he came back from 14 down for the Dolphins to win. Now, people are going to say, why wasn't Matt Moore starting from the beginning? I'm going to tell you this. And at the beginning of the season, or before the season started, when Tannehill went down, and then they started talking about going to get Jay Cutler, my first words were, then why do you have Matt Moore as your backup? I would have rolled with Matt Moore. He's been in the system. Although Jay Cutler, knows the system because Adam Gase ran it in Chicago when he was there. But Matt Moore he was there the year before. He had been in training camp. He had been working out with the guys and everything. So I just thought, you bring in Jay Cutler if he still wants to come in. Obviously, Jay was like, I'm going to have to start to come in. But I would have said, give Matt Moore the benefit of the doubt. Let him run the offense. And they didn't do that. They brought in, Jay. He struggled here and there. He had some good moments. But now with this injury, it opens up. Should Matt Moore be, the quarterback going forward? I don't know just yet. Now, the one thing about Matt Moore, he is a gunslinger. He is not scared to throw that ball. But at times that gets him in trouble. And him being a gunslinger helps him, but also hurts him at the same time. You got to pick and choose when you want to take those gunslinger, choices. And sometimes Matt Moore goes too far and beyond what he should. So that is what he has to bring in. Maybe Adam Gase can work with him on that, but it looks like Jay Cutler is going to be out for, I think, 2 to 3 weeks with this rib injury. And then the next 2 to 3 weeks, obviously we'll know, who will be the starting quarterback. But Matt Moore has an opportunity to make a very good case for them to sit Jay Cutler down. Now, Jay Cutler has not set the world on fire. He has not set the league on fire by his play. So Matt Moore has a great opportunity to take over this position and be the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins for the rest of the year. But it seems like he flowed with the guys, too, when he got in. There was a comfort level. I mean, he had Kenny Stills, and they didn't have Devontae Parker at that time. So Devontae Parker, may play tomorrow, which is a short week. But for Devontae, it shouldn't be too short because he sat out. So it wasn't like he was coming off a game where he was trying to maybe nurse an injury that he got on Sunday. He was basically trying to get back from a previous injury. So might get him. Jarvis Landry, he is what he is, man. He's always going to be a guy that, you want to go to and keep him involved in the game. And Jay Ajayi, they've been force-feeding, this guy, so they're trying to get him going on a consistent basis. But I like Matt Moore. I would give him a shot. I would give him, the reins just to see what he can do. And if he does well, I wouldn't have a problem saying, Jay, you're going to have to sit down for a second and we'll see what this guy does, So that's just my thought, on it. That it could, I could be wrong, but I know I'll be proven right or wrong in the next few weeks, and that leads me into the next few weeks also. Carson Palmer, another quarterback. Whew. These quarterbacks been going down left and right each week. So it's scary because it's just like you're just hoping, man, I hope my quarterback is not the next one. You don't want anyone to get injured, but you definitely don't want your quarterback to get injured. But Carson Palmer, to add insult to injury, he broke his arm, but they were getting handled by the Los Angeles Rams too. So he is out for, I think, 6 to 8 weeks at this point. He might be able to come back near the end of the year, but is there going to be anything to come back to, on it? We'll go back. Now, he left the game, and it could have already been out of hand, when Carson was in there, and it could have just ended up the same way it did. I see them probably still losing, maybe by not as many points as they lost by. Drew Stanton came in, you put him in a hard situation, but hey, Matt Moore, he stepped in and came back. Now, of course, the Jets are not the Rams. The Rams are having a pretty good year so far. So I'm not going to say, the teams are equal. I would have said they were equal at the beginning of the season, but Rams have stepped up. Here's the thing for the Cardinals at this point. They've had iffy line play. People have questioned their line. They got DJ Humphries back, so that helps out with the line. But you really don't know the AP that you're getting. Case in point, he comes in first game, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. Second game, you're just like, you're not expecting 2 touchdowns or anything like that, but you definitely expect him to get close to 100 yards. I think he ran for like 21 yards. So the Rams are a better defense, than the Bucs that they played last year. I'm sorry, JB Jennings, but it is true. The Rams are a better, defense than what the Bucs were proposing, to the Cardinals the week before. But it's like it was total night and day. Total night and day. Now, Mac Farrell said in the chat room, he said Palmer has been done as a QB 5 years ago. Now, there is he fell off a little bit, Mac Farrell, so you're right. And he's not the quarterback that he once was. Having said that, though, he still was a viable quarterback. In that system, especially, Bruce Arians, as far as like his QB, I just don't think Drew Stanton is going to be able to do the things that Bruce Arians needs his quarterback to do. We saw, signs of the Cardinals being able to, maybe be that team that